AlteredCalyx here, and I'm with the amazing featuringFlewt. And today we're going to be talking about our brand new podcast where we talk where we talk about the games we love playing on stream, and we want to share that experience with you guys.
So we're really excited. We wanted to start this podcast to just talk about the games we love and our experience on Twitch. And so on this particular episode, we're going to introduce ourselves and talk about Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. Calyx, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is AlteredCalyx. I stream games on Twitch and YouTube, and what I like to stream are usually RPG games of the fantasy genre. They range from MMOs, RPGs, CRPGs, some survival and building, and maybe a sprinkle of strategy games. What about you, Flewt? What do you like playing?
So I love RPGs. I'm very much in the same boat as you with that. And I think that's why we were so excited to start this podcast.
Yes.
Is we really enjoy quite similar styles of game.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah. So like Calyx said, I love RPGs. I love story-based games. I love some strategy games. MMOs are something I have enjoyed greatly, but you won't find me streaming because they are quite the time sink. But yeah, anything where I can customize a character, think about fun builds, be roped into a really embracing story, that kind of stuff I love. Speaking of, what are some of your favorite games to give us an idea of what you play, Calyx?
Some of my all-time favorite games right now, definitely this Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. It's seriously, I mean, I know the year just started, but I love it more than Baldur's Gate 3. So I know that's probably minority, but it is what it is, right?
Wow, that's a bold opinion.
Exactly.
All-time top 5. What would
My
you put in there?
goodness, all-time top 5. Now, how would you categorize that? Would it be by time played? Because I've sunk in a lot of time, like in MMOs, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's like my favorite game. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think for me, games that make it into like an all-time top 5, it doesn't have to be specifically 5, but like those all-time favorites are the ones that have left very lasting impressions on me. That when I think about games, I go, that one.
But see, for me, I don't know if it's nostalgia kicking in, because for me, if I think about like iconic games that are like just memorable to me, like the first thing that pops up would be EverQuest, the original EverQuest 1. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was I don't know if you've ever played, like, they're called like MUDs. It's like text-based games. So Hubby and I were playing that, and so when we saw EverQuest, it was like text world come to life, like in living color type of thing. So it was amazing and iconic, and like it was a wow factor for us. So I guess I would have to put that definitely in the top 5, but I honestly can't think of the other 4. I'd have to think about it, honestly. What about you?
Right.
What about you? What's in your top 5? Let's hear yours.
I think, honestly, it's so hard because, like you said, the distinction of what goes in there is tricky. Because there are games that I've played that are definitely better, technically, than my, like, favorites. But in terms of just games that I've loved, it would have to be Mass Effect. The whole Mass Effect trilogy is way up there. And to be perfectly fair, a lot of that is the period of my life that I played the trilogy during. But it's still the whole story, the characters, the ending, because I played with the like revised ending, has all stuck with me throughout my entire gaming career.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Did romancing have any say in these games, by the way? Just wanted to I had to ask that.
No, surely not. It absolutely did. Gareth the Carrion for life.
I remember Dragon Age. What is it? Dragon Age. I don't know which one it was. It was definitely the first one. I don't know the first one's name though. I don't know if it's
Origins.
Is it Origins? Is it called Origins? All I know is I replayed that sucker a few times for the different the different romancing options and stuff. So I'm with you on there.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That is totally a legitimate motivation for multiple playthroughs for
Yeah,
me,
for sure.
is more romance.
What else is up there for
But in
you?
terms of others, sorry?
Oh, and I was just saying, like, yeah, what are some others?
Oh, yes, sorry. Um, CRPGs of Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire.
I have that.
love that game.
I have that, but I have not played it yet. So you loved it. So okay, good. Looking forward to it then.
I love it so much. It's one of the first games I played fully on Twitch, and it
Ooh.
was just such a cool experience. It was my first real proper attempt at real time with pause as a combat system.
Oh, okay.
And I struggled with it, but I learned a lot and kind of learned to love it. And so I have a lot of good memories with that game.
Yes. So you say the turn-based stuff was kind of new, you're saying? From the
Real time with pause was very new. I find it interesting because you said you played Dragon Age Origins a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And I played Origins after Mass Effect because I was like, I need more. And it was another BioWare game, right?
Yep.
But at that point in time, I'd never played a real time with pause game, and I hated it.
Oh, okay.
Like, I struggled so badly.
Maybe because I grew up with it. Like even, Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 2, those were all like turn-based, right? And I love
Yeah.
it. And so I'm always like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, turn-based, that's a plus for me. But I think because just I need time to think. So I'm like, yep, pause. Time to pause. Let me think. Let me gather, my wits and move forward type of thing, right? Because it's like happening in real time.
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat. And I've learned to love it now. Like, now you can give me a real time with pause game, and I'll be like, sweet, all good.
Yes,
But-
yes.
At the time, it was my first experience with it, and I just could not get my head around it. So Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire was a very modern take on it. It was very approachable. I loved the world building in the Pillars of Eternity games. That's like some of my favorite gaming world building.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool.
Excellent. And by the way, are these all like on the PC or are any of these games console games?
All except for one of my other favorites, which was Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Oh,
That one's on the Switch.
gotcha.
Have you ever played any Fire Emblem games?
I have not. Am I missing out?
Three Houses I loved. I don't know if I can recommend it though.
Why?
It's an amazing strategy game. And I got so attached to all of the characters. And I played all 4 different routes. And went on to the hardest difficulty. And I think it's so much fun. But I also think there's a lot, like, as much as I loved the characters and loved the little details that fed into the story, I also can definitely see where some of the routes don't have the best story. Like, if that's your first experience, it's not the best experience.
Gotcha.
And because it's 4 routes and kind of takes 4 playthroughs to see the full picture, if you only do one, it feels a little empty, like some mysteries won't be resolved, or you just never see a certain character again.
Okay.
So it's like, I think it's so good. I love it, but it's hard to recommend unless you've got a lot of time to sink in.
How many hours do you think you got into that game?
500 easily.
500 easily. Yeah. See, and that's the problem I'm like when I place the games, because games like I have over 1,000 hours in like Conan Exiles, Oxygen not included, but I've never streamed those games, and I don't know if I would stream them because I mean I enjoyed them, right? But to me I think it's kind of boring because there's a lot of times where I'm not doing anything exciting, you know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like I'm just like running around because there was, no easy way to teleport, so I'm just running around the area trying to get to the next, next zone or something. And it's like I had fun. I had a lot of fun building and everything, but again, it's a lot of trial and error. So I don't know, do people want to watch me trial and error trying to build a house type of, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I think that's where we have a very interesting perspective, is that playing games on Twitch and playing games by yourself is such a different experience. And we were talking about this just a little while ago, but we both love Vampire Survivors.
Oh my gosh,
but
yes.
we would not stream that game.
No. And you won't catch me streaming because I uninstalled it. So, but I absolutely enjoyed it. I 100% it. I 100% the achievements, but nope, I'm done with it.
That's so impressive. I mean, hey, you finished the game. You've 100%ed it. You're done. Good job.
It felt like a compulsion though. That's why I was like, I'm uninstalling this game. I don't want to ever play it again. You know, it was just like I've had enough.
Interesting. Yeah.
But
Totally get it.
You were mentioning that you played it co-op, right? I didn't even know you could play it co-op. How was that experience?
Yeah, and something I should have introduced in terms of how I stream is that I stream with my partner, Hemi. And that's been a lot of fun. So we really look for games that we can play co-op. And while we didn't stream Vampire Survivors, it was an amazing little local co-op experience. Because I would never have played it by myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was he like, come on, play this type of thing? Like he's the one that was like getting you to try to play it?
Yeah, he was like, I found this little game. It's super cozy. It looks like it's going to be fun. And I was like,
because let's be honest,
for me.
Yeah, let's be honest. The graphics are very outdated and everything, right? I looked at that. I was like, what? Because people are like hubby and someone else I know was like recommending. I was like, did you look at the graphics? You know, it's like, but yeah, it was a blast though. Yeah, I agree. You have to get past that, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, the graphics are quite the hurdle when you're just trying to show someone the game.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, he really wanted to play it with me. And I was like, yes, absolutely, because now suddenly I'm looking for co-op games. And we had so much fun together with it.
That's awesome. So how did you come to streaming? Like what made you start to stream? Sounds like because you were talking about how you did not stream Vampire Hunters, but you had a blast, and I'm wondering, is that just a period that you were not streaming, or was that a conscious effort or thought, intentional that you did not stream, that type of thing?
That's a great question, and I'd love to hear about how you started streaming as well. But I started streaming about 5 to 6 years ago.
Okay.
When I was still very much single. And I was really motivated by online games. I was very addicted to MMOs at the time, and
Who wasn't?
a MOBA called Smite. And I was really motivated to keep playing by the people I was playing with, the interaction online. But there were also a ton of single-player games that I really wanted to play. I just found that I would start and lose momentum. And so I said to myself, I was like, I love watching YouTube, like Let's Plays on YouTube. So why don't I take this thing and play the single-player game that I'm really excited about and do it on Twitch so that I can still talk to people and share this experience, and then I'm motivated to actually explore the game fully because it's not just for me, it's also for my viewers.
Gotcha.
And so that was where I started, and it was so much fun, and it's just continued from there, and now Hemi's part of it, and it means that I can stream even more games that I wouldn't normally, that say, don't have voice acting, that I find super exhausting. That kind of thing.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah. So how did you come to streaming, Calyx?
For me, it was more about I felt guilty playing games. I've always played video games, when I was young too, but growing up, like my household, my background, my family, playing games considered, unproductive, you don't really have to do that, blah blah blah. So we never owned a console like until very late, because my parents are like, no, you have to study, you can't. So it's kind of, it's kind of like been ingrained to me, like it's, like guilty pleasure type of thing. So I was like, you know what? I had like a revelation. I was like, what if I stream myself playing a game? So then I'm being
Mm-hmm.
productive. I'm having fun, but I'm being productive also. So it makes me feel less guilty. So
Oh,
that's
I love that.
that's how it started. And when did I feel like I started, I don't know the exact date because I just kind of started, and then unfortunately I had to take a long break because of COVID. It got me, so it was like almost a year, like at least.
Really?
Yeah, so I was just like maybe like 7 months or something where it was just like slowly coming back. But so now I have a more regular schedule, and yeah, I can't even tell, and I don't know if it's the memory fog or whatever, but yeah, I don't even remember the first time I streamed. Although Twitch
Mm.
probably knows the first time I streamed. They probably have some kind of anniversary or something, right?
Yeah, surely. My problem with that is that I dabbled with streaming like maybe once in 2 months, a little bit
Mm,
before I tried doing it properly.
mm-hmm.
So I don't trust Twitch to tell me when I actually like sat down and went, I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Just so for others out there, what's your stream schedule, by the way?
My stream schedule, unfortunately, is not super set. I try to stream between 2 to 3 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
and that's usually on the weekend and then New Zealand Wednesdays. So
Gotcha.
for America, that's probably a Tuesday evening. Um, and that's just when I'm able to. I used to try to keep to a schedule much more regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that between everything I need to do in real life and,
Yes.
maintaining a relationship and relationships outside of that,
Yeah.
it,
That real
it was
life
too
gets
much
in
of
the
a
way,
burden.
right? Kind of just gets.
Yeah, precisely. But I've seen you've been really
Oh.
consistent. So what's your schedule like?
I've been trying to be more consistent, like I said, and I
Mm,
have animals that I have to take care of, and they don't know. I mean, they can tell time really accurately, and they will let me know when I'm late with dinner and stuff, right? So I feel like I cannot start at a proper time for the evening stream, so I've changed it up, and I do. Right now it's, I say right now because it's changed before, but right now it's
yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 1 p.m. Central. And then
Hmm.
Saturday, I usually do some kind of co-op game. Sunday, let's be honest, I usually stream on Sunday too, but I call that a bonus stream so I don't have to be committed to it.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
and then 2 days off, and then we're back on Monday again. So that's my schedule.
Ooh, that is busy. A packed
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Although, like
That's
you,
really
I'm
neat.
trying to just not. It's not that I don't want to stream as much. I'm sure you feel this too because it's just a lot of work. It's like it's not just the streaming because then you gotta
Hmm.
edit, you gotta do all the stuff outside of the stream. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, I don't I don't have enough time, so I have to cut into the stream time. So, but Rogue Trader has been so fun that I've been having like really long streams. I once recently, a couple of times, had like a 9 or 11 hour stream. I'm like, what is going on? Yeah, I know,
Whoa!
right? I don't even know, but yeah, that's what's
Wow,
happening.
it's really gripped you then.
It's got me hard, Flute. Oh my god, okay, let me just, I have to gush a little bit, all right? I have to talk about this, guys.
Please.
Before this game, I might have heard the word Warhammer, okay? People
Hmm.
talk about it, whatever. I didn't really know what it was, okay? I heard recently Henry Cavill's gonna do Warhammer. I was like, okay, whatever. But after this game, I'm like, tell me more. Like, please tell me more. I'm not a big YouTube consumer, but I've watched a couple of videos on Warhammer 40k from Bricky Luton. I'm actually on book 2 of some Warhammer 40k audiobook.
Really?
Yeah, it's got me so hooked. Like, I'm in deep. I love it so much, and I love the game. I think that's why I have like such a. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, or we talked about it like yesterday or something. But like, people like the game for different reasons, and maybe some people don't like it as much as Baldur's Gate 3. But for me, just personally, yeah, it trumps Baldur's Gate 3. Like to me, like I think the biggest thing was in Baldur's Gate 3, like the cities, like Baldur's Gate, yeah, it was big and, massive and like whatever, but honestly, it could have been any city in my opinion, right? It was very kind of generic, just in a D&D village, town, city, whatever. And but in this game, and maybe it's because it's a new genre, new lore and everything, but it's all exciting, and I'm in. I'm all in.
That's so cool. I'm so glad to hear it because I remember we both started it right when it came out. We were both really excited about the game. And I popped into your stream and I was like, how are you finding it? And you said, I'm not really in love with it yet.
Yes, I remember that. Who was that person?
So what's changed? What was the moment that kind of got you?
I think, okay, I guess first of all, even though fantasy genre is my jam and everything, I love on top of that dark fantasy. Like I love vampires. I love the idea of like necromancers. When I played Diablo 4, I picked necromancer and Path of Exile. I'll pick some kind of minion build. So I like that dark fantasy, and 40k is pretty darn grim and dark, right? So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but it's the story of it just gripped me. I'm just like, what? Like, and I have to attribute it to Alcat's writing. Like, they did an amazing job writing it. And I know for some people maybe they're a little bit too wordy, and that's but for me it's like that's where I'm getting all the details, right? Like, and I'm immersed. So I don't know. I love it. And when you first start off too, it's just kind of like you don't really know what's going on, but it's that usual Owlcat feel because I played the 2 Pathfinders before it too, where this story, like, it revolves around me. Whereas in Baldur's Gate, I didn't really feel like it revolved around me. Like, I felt like my companions had better stories than me. I was just along for the ride type of thing. Where in this game, it's like, it's me. I'm the rogue trader, And like, all my companions are following me. So I don't know. It's just a different perspective, I guess. Preference.
No, I get that for sure. I'm so glad you're having such a good time with it because I'm really loving it. You've managed to get a lot further into the game than I am now. I think definitely the first few hours were rough for a number of reasons. It's a brand new fantasy world. I also had not done anything Warhammer before Rogue Trader.
Yes.
And the early levels, especially when my partner Himi was playing a psyker, were very weak and felt really rough.
True.
But kind of once we got past that, once we actually had some little builds going, we managed to spend some time looking at what we wanted from the characters we were playing and managed to get through that first like early level tough combat hurdle. We started having a much better time.
Yes.
And I very much understand where you're coming from with the way that you feel important in the world. I think that is Alcat's biggest strength and why their games are have such a draw to them.
Agreed.
Because we've both played the previous Pathfinder games by Alcat, the Pathfinder Kingmaker and Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And in each of those games, like with Rogue Trader, the biggest strength is how they make you feel important.
Exactly.
And it's not because, and it's not because your companions are all standing around going, wow, you're so great. It's because the mechanics give you stories and decisions that match a person who's supposed to be in your position of power.
Yes.
Whether it was Kingmaker owning a huge amount of land, or Wrath of the Righteous being commander of armies, or Rogue Trader being the Rogue Trader in a Warhammer universe. It puts you in these decision-making positions and then lets those have consequences.
Yes.
And you have people who advise you. Your companions aren't there to go like, you're the best, I love you so much.
Yep.
They're there to say, well, actually, I think you should be doing this. And you can go, no, I'm going to make this decision. And they go, okay, well, you're in charge. I disagree, but let's see what happens.
Exactly.
And if things play out like they said they'd play out, they get to have a little snark at you. But ultimately, you're the one in charge, and it makes you feel important.
Agreed.
And I think that's so cool.
I 100%. I agree. I love how, and I love the dialogue options too. Usually my girl likes to pick like the sarcastic comments or something, right? Instead of like the righteous one. But you know, stuff like that. And I'm immersed in it because it's like I've never actually played D&D, but if I imagine like, you know, your character evolving, that's how I've always felt in like the Owlcat games, and this one's no different, where it's like my character started off as one and, you know, one thing, one type or whatever, but, you know, she evolves and she has to make the hard decisions, and they affect how, you know, she makes future decisions, and it's just such a blast. But I always have to remind myself, I'm like, what would my character do? Not what I do. You know, what would the character do? You know, she's evolved, she's made some decisions, you know? So yeah.
I love that. Yeah, some proper role play.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
So
yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. So speaking about Rogue Trader, what's your build? What's your party like? What's happening in that party?
Oh boy. So something I loved about Rogue Trader is the character creation, and we both found this, I think.
Yes.
Is that the character creation was so nicely laid out and gave you such a great idea of who your character was going into the world.
Yes.
But
right from the start,
I sat
like
there.
you had like origins that you had to pick and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
And didn't you say, how many hours did you say it took you?
Well, we had one stream of 3 hours. Just going through all the options, and then another like half an hour to actually make the character.
Yes. Yeah, it took me 2 hours as well to make my first character, so it's fun. It's just really fun to create the character, yeah.
It's very meaty, but not as ridiculously overwhelming as Pathfinder is.
Agreed. Yes, that one just over my head on that one, Pathfinder. I was just
yeah.
I was like, give me a guide because I can't think of all this. You know, it's like
Same. But yeah, it was so much fun. But I remember I was waffling between 2 ideas. One of the backgrounds was Voidborn, and it sounded like it had some really cool talents. Are you Voidborn?
Yeah, I'm Voidborn.
Yes. Okay, that's what I went with as well.
Yes, nice.
And it had some really cool background stuff as to your successes and your failures. And it looked like it had some really cool supporty talents.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, well, I could go with kind of an officer support build with Voidborn. Or I could go, I think it was Imperial World, had an interesting sounding passive. I can't remember the exact details. It was something like you could shoot twice if certain conditions were met.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that could be such a cool sniper build.
Yes.
And then I kind of ended up going a middle ground, which was Voidborn, but I went Soldier because I was like, I have no idea what my companions are going to be like. I don't know what the weapons are like. I'll do something that's very flexible. And now I've ended up with a Voidborn sniper. So I've just gone right down the middle.
Oh, gotcha. I went with, I decided I was going to go support. I haven't played a healer type in a while, so I was just like, and like you, I wasn't sure who we were going to be getting. I was like, you know what, just to get our bases covered, I'm going to pick a support character. So my girl is a sanctioned psyker officer and then grand strategist. So yeah, she's not offensive at all. She's there to support everyone. She's a cheerleader there, so.
Very nice. I'm not going to lie, there have been multiple instances where I wish I had gone officer. because their abilities are so good.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. Although now I've got Cassia, so she can kind of fulfill
Yep,
that
she
supporty
definitely
role.
can. Cassia,
Gosh, Officer's so good. And
yeah,
you
Cassia's
went
really good.
unsanctioned psyker, right? So what was your
Sanctioned
early
Psyker.
game experience? Oh, sorry, sanctioned psyker.
Yes. It was not easy. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I have like one buff. I felt like I couldn't really do anything, you know? I was just like, oh, and another thing is, so I had that staff that can do like lightning, I guess, or whatever. But I got scared early on using my abilities. Sometimes I would not use my psychic abilities because of the veil degradation. I was like, what the heck? Because I saw Idira do something and she fell prone. I saw something else
Oh,
happen and like things were getting summoned. I was like, I don't want to touch this. I don't, so
yeah.
I was like, I don't want to be this. Or it's not that I didn't want to be it. I was like, I don't want to cast right now. I'm going to skip my turn. So I was like, what am I doing? But yeah. I mean, which is leads into like when I built Cassia, I had her take Mend Reality because the veil degradation was such a big concern for me. Now I don't care as much because I feel like my people are they're doing better. So I guess long story short, yeah, I struggled in the beginning, but as you mentioned, like now that I kind of know what I'm doing and everyone else is getting more powerful, like things are going good and smooth and having a blast.
Yeah,
Was that the
absolutely.
same experience for you?
Very much. Like, it's crazy how different it feels now. I think we're at level 17 um, compared to the early levels because while I love sci-fi, I also tend to prefer having magic of some sort. So,
Yes,
like in Mass
same,
Effect,
same,
I
same.
always, yeah, right? Like in Mass Effect, I always use biotics. And my partner Hemi's very much the same, except he's even more predictable. If there's fire, that's what he's taking.
So
So,
he's pyro then in here, huh?
oh yeah, yeah. So immediately, as soon as we picked up Idera, who's an unsanctioned psyker, that was who he was controlling. And I really like that Alcat has made this a co-op game, and it's actually working. It's very cool.
That is awesome to hear then. So if anyone else is thinking about playing co-op, green light, go for it.
Yeah. Obviously early on you have to sit through the main player doing their thing until you can take control of a companion. But it's been working amazingly. So he took control of Idera because he wanted cool psyker stuff. And then as soon as we could, we made him a custom mercenary that was a pyromancer. And there were so many frustrations just in all the aspects. The veil degradation.
Yes.
So for every psyker ability used, you have a bar that goes up. That's your veil degradation. And if it goes up too much, you get all sorts of nasty effects in battle. And you can even summon demons and that sort of stuff. Which for a new player going in, you see this and you go, "Ugh, I don't want this." But to use any cool magic abilities, that's the price you pay.
Exactly. It comes at a price.
And yeah. And it made it very, not punishing, but frustrating to want to be the cool magic user and then feel punished for it. But we managed to get the talents for both of the psychers that reduces the veil degradation by 2. And so if it's a like cost of 1, it actually goes to -1. And then getting Cassia in was a huge one as well because she's got a similar passive talent that she can pick up that also reduces veil degradation for each ability she uses. And that has massively reduced that frustration.
Yes, agreed. Cassia, for me, I didn't take the reductions on the other people, but I took it on Cassia. She has an ability called Mend Reality, and that sucker just took like half the bar down of the veil degradation.
Ooh.
So I was like, phew, we can continue being powerful and casting all the psyker stuff we want. So that was a game changer, I think,
Yes.
too, because then I wasn't as scared to start casting.
Exactly. And I think the other big frustration is that Idara, your psyker companion, comes in as an unsanctioned psyker. So not only does she have even more risk associated to failed degradation, but she is significantly stronger than any custom-made psyker because she starts at psyker rating, psi rating 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I benched her, so I don't know about this kind of stuff. But okay, so she's stronger than a normal psyker?
Yeah, we loved her, so we've kept her. But she's by far our strongest party member.
Oh, yeah.
And when Hemi had a pyromancer, who we've since learnt suffers the most from reduced psi rating, he starts at psi rating 0, and all of the damage scaling is times psi rating. So his damage range was like 0 to 5.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And when everyone else is doing between 10 to 20 damage, and he sometimes just does 0.
What's the point? What's the point then, right?
What's the point, right? It was very frustrating. And then Idara was there doing like between 20 to 30 damage.
Woo,
Early
MVP.
game.
Sounds like MVP there.
So much so. So we loved her. But it also felt very much like, what's the point of doing a custom character?
Yes.
And thankfully that frustration has eased up a lot as well. We kind of remade Hemi once we figured out how it was all working. And then once you hit level 10, you can get that first psi rating.
Yes.
So that was pretty big.
Do you guys still play with a hireling? Like, is Hemi controlling, I don't know what you called it.
I think it's a mercenary or a hireling.
Okay, yeah, mercenary.
I don't know what the game calls it
specifically. I don't recall either. Okay, so you do play one. Okay. So who are you benching then right now?
Oh, at the moment we're benching Pascal. And I've only got up to the point where we've just met Jay on Footfall. And so far, from our brief, like 2-minute introduction, I really like her.
I loved her too.
I don't know what she is yet, though.
Yeah. I loved her too. I loved her dialogue, her accent, but I just had no room for her. So I was like, sorry, Jai. I call her Jay, but I think she calls herself Jai. But I always say Jay too. So I don't, you'll hear me say both because I'm like Jay, Jai, whatever. So I'm going to be stumbling on that, but yeah.
Gotcha. I haven't heard her introduce herself yet, so I'll keep an ear out for it.
Yeah.
Did you hear? I've had an amazing time. I've only recently started putting content onto YouTube, and I've had some amazingly helpful comments over there. But the one that really threw us for a loop for a little while was that we were saying Abelard.
Oh.
And then someone came in and said, no, it's Abelard.
Yeah, Abelard.
And it's taken so much getting used to.
Yeah, because if you're used to saying it one way and then you have to, be like forced to say another way. Yeah. So the whole time, like before I heard Jai speaking, I just called her Jay. So now that I heard her, I'm like Jai, but it doesn't roll off my tongue easily, right? I'm saying Jai, I'm like, doesn't sound right, but whatever. I have to get used to it. It's one of those things. But I don't hear her often because, like I said, I don't usually play with her. She's riding the bench for me.
It's so tough when you want to take all these people and you just don't have space for them.
Yeah, because they all have personalities.
Who's in your lineup at the moment then?
So other than me, there's Abelard because I feel like he's just my right-hand man. He's like true north. He's my big tanky boy. He's good. I feel like I can trust him. Henrix I picked up and I was trying to romance him. I think I got the achievement that I started a romance, but it's not really gone anywhere. So I don't know what's happening. I'm kind of in limbo. I don't know if he put me in the friend zone or something. I don't know. I got Pascal because I don't even care. In the beginning, I was like, this guy can't really do much, but I love his character. He's so dry. Like, I don't know. I find it dry humor, but he's all being serious and everything, but he's all like not ratting out people, but he's like, reporting you for whatever noted. And it's like, oh my gosh, Pascal, can you just leave it alone? he's like but I don't know. I just love him. His personality is great. I have Argenta. and she was my MVP for a while. Like it was like she was MVP. My whole party was just supporting her. It's like, how can we help you, Argenta? Let us lift you up. It was like, but now Cassia and even Pascal has like, crawled up in the ranks. So she's still MVP, but maybe not the MVP. And then of course Cassia.
Interesting.
We have Cassia. She might be MVP for us. She's quite the beast. So I don't know. Who else is in yours then? So you said you got Idira, Hemi's got a mercenary, you got yourself,
Yeah.
and who else is there?
And then we had also been taking Pascal out because I think he's really interesting. But at the moment, we've benched him just because it's a story area for Argenta. And Abelard and...
Do you have Cassia?
Wait, oh, yes, and Cassia.
Okay. I was like,
Yeah.
Cassia better not be riding that bench.
No, Cassia's been amazing.
Yes.
Have you made her more of an attack type or a support type?
She, at the beginning, since she was an officer for me, she was kind of supporty, and I wasn't really using her offensively, but let me tell you, she is quite the offensive player. I don't know how you use her, but now she's pretty much offensive. Now she's like, hold my beer. I'm going to go twice right off the bat, and like you all can just sit back. So
That's so cool.
yeah, she's really good.
Excellent.
She's really good.
Yeah.
She ramped up for sure.
Neat. And who's your favorite character?
I think Pascal is my favorite character. I think he's just so quirky. I love his dialogue. I don't know, he just makes me happy. He's starting to ramp up in damage too, so he's actually he always had a place in my group, but like yeah, I don't think I could ever give him up. Speaking of which, do you have like a favorite group now? Like I don't know if do you get really I get really attached to my people. Do you get attached to people in your games? So once you find
very, very much.
once you find the group that gels, like do you like I don't tend to swap them out. I'm like, nope, this is it. And everyone else, you're only coming in if someone has to do like if they go off on their own and on their quest or something, but this is my set group. Are you like that too?
Absolutely.
Yes, nice.
I haven't like fallen in love with any of the rogue trader companions yet. There are some that I find really interesting, and I really like Idera is probably one of my favorites so far.
Yes. I liked her too, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't fallen in love, but I definitely do tend to get the squad that I like the most. And it's very hard to switch them out when I have to for story reasons.
Exactly. So yeah, same with me. And that's the reason why I don't have, like, even though Jai when she was talking and I love her voice acting and stuff, I was like, she's really cool, but I got my group already. I'm sorry, Jai. If you maybe showed up, a little bit earlier, you kind of had a spot, but I am really set on my people now, right?
Yeah, it's so tough. I both love and find it really tough when companions are introduced much later in the game. I really struggled with this in BG3 as well, and I just want to preface it by saying I loved BG3. I had an amazing time.
Same.
But I never found a compelling reason to continuously have any of the later companions like Jaheira or Minsk or even Helson in the team because I already had my squad. I had my people.
Exactly. You were lucky enough to have Jaheira and Minsk, I see. Okay.
Oh, did you not get them?
No, Jaheira died in, was it Moonrise Tyrus? It was all her fault. I didn't even get a chance to save her. She went ahead, she transformed into that panther thing or whatever. She went right to the front of the line. She got cone of colded. Everyone just attacked her. And I didn't even get a chance to try to save her. She just died. I was like, oh my gosh. And I don't really save scum in my games for like that kind of stuff. So it was just like, nope, I couldn't get that. And I was all looking forward to getting Minsk. I heard Minsk was in the game. I was like, yes. All he wanted to do was fight me. I was like, why? I just want to be friends, Minsk. What's going on? And so I finally had to look it up because I was like, and I don't like spoilers or anything, but I was like, I just want to be Minsk's friend. Turns out, I guess
Yeah.
you need Jahira. And
Yeah.
so
I think that's the
I
situation.
I didn't have her, so yeah, we could never be friends. So that was a little bit sad.
That is sad because I loved Jahira. Like when we first met her, I was like, "Oh, Jahira, I'm not sure about you," but she was the boss bitch in Act 3. I loved
Awesome.
her. But it
Excellent.
was just so hard to fit her into the team. And then I was so excited about seeing Minsk as well. And he was so cool, but we found him so late in the game.
Yes.
It was like,
Hard to bond.
it's too late.
Too late. Agreed.
Yeah. So similarly, probably I'm sure we'll find lots of really awesome companions in Rogue Trader, a bunch that are on the splash art that we haven't met yet, but I just don't know how I'm going to fit them in.
Exactly. The good thing about the Alcat games, though, I think we touched upon it, is that they always have like their own like story quests, and I like to do them. So they will come at least for that, right? So we'll get to get a little bit of bonding in, I guess. But yeah, it's not going to be a lot. It's not like they're never going to replace one of my static people right now. The group is set. So
yeah. And I do like that. I like being able to take them out for their little story quest stuff.
Same. You get you get to see how they work out and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And then as we're like kind of wrapping up, what about in Rogue Trader? Are you encountering any? I don't want to say are you encountering any bugs because I've encountered bugs, but any game breaking bugs for you?
Unfortunately, yes. Just last night.
Oh. Which bug
Which
is
was
this?
so disheartening. I'm honestly hoping that because we're playing it co-op, there's a way we can work around it. But on Footfall, when you first arrive, you can go in two directions. You can go like to the Shadow something district.
Yep.
And you can go towards the Liege's quarters. And when we first arrived, we chose to come in incognito. We were like, oh, we're going to scope the land.
Yeah.
See what's happening around here. And I wanted to go to the Shadow something. It's not Shadowfell. It's like...
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. But yeah, the word shadow's in there. Yeah.
the word shadow's in there.
Yeah.
Quarters. And I tried loading in, and I crashed. And I reloaded, and I crashed.
Oh, no.
Okay, we'll go the other way. We'll go towards the Liege's quarters. We did all of that. We had a great time. And then I'd finished that up. And at the end of last night's stream, I was like, okay, I want to go find Jay. There's a bunch of other story quests that are headed towards this shadow area. Let's go. And I'm still crashing loading in. Just hard crashed.
That is not cool. That is not cool.
Really tough, because I mean, I could just leave the whole area, but I'm really worried about it abandoning quests that I need to do there.
Exactly. Are you a completionist? Are you a completionist?
No.
No?
I like doing as much as I want to do.
Gotcha.
So I don't like doing little fetch quests to get 20 out of 20 medallions or whatever it is. But if there's story stuff happening, I want to see it.
Yeah, because if it was crashing on me, I would have been devastated. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I ever gonna complete this part? It would just ruin my life. Okay, that's a little bit exaggerating, but yeah, it would ruin my day. How's that?
Slight exaggeration.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping, because of the way that co-op works, when you end the co-op, it kind of creates that save on both persons' computer. And then each person can continue individually from there. So what I'm hoping is, my partner Hemi has the same save point. I will try streaming from his computer. We will just go through that story area, because his computer's loading in to that area fine.
Oh, okay. So you guys zone in, but you're like steering the whole thing, and so he's able to see the next area, but you crash out. Oh,
correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it's not both of you. All right, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping I'll set up the stream on his side. We will play through just on his computer, not doing it co-op. for him. He will probably have to just watch over my shoulder or something. And we'll see what the story is there. We'll see if we can get out of that area and then try to get me back in co-op and recreate a save.
Sounds fair. I hope it works out.
I'm really hoping it works.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't, at least then we'll have seen the story in that area. But it's quite the bummer.
Yeah. And I hear there's like a progress halting bug, or maybe bugs, I don't know, in Act 4. And I'm like, and I guess it's still not fixed. Well, not recently, at least. And I'm like, and so one person that I was talking to, they were like, yeah, I had to start a new playthrough. Well, because they wanted to try, different alignment or different character, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But I'm like thinking, that kind of sucks. Like you're cruising along and you can't do anything, so you're forced to, either play another game or do another playthrough or something like that. So luckily, I haven't found any of those, but I've come across many like annoying bugs, like stuff like I couldn't equip something, and I'm like, why? I meet the requirements. It's not like, red, doesn't say like you can't wear it. And I'm like, why can't I wear this? Why can't I wear this? So it turns out I had to log out, log back in, and voila, I can wear it. So, bugs like that. So it's super annoying. Yeah. But it's like, it's not, but there's starting to be like lots of little things. So I'm like, But overall, I haven't had progress breaking ones like you and Hemi encounter, so I'm okay with it still. But I'm like, and I know I'm still kind of slower as well compared to people who have played it or maybe even tried to finish it or finished it. So I'm thinking like, Alka, you got some time before I reach that zone or whatever. You better fix it.
Please fix it in time.
Yes, exactly. And then I also noticed some bugs that are in my favor. I'm like, why is she able to go again? Wait, she can use her like damaging ability like 3-4 times? I'm like, I don't know why, but okay. So those kind of things I'm still happy about though, right? They might be bugs, but I'm like, that's okay. Those are okay then.
Yes. We've had a couple of those where we go, why? You know what? We've had enough bugs against us. We'll take this one.
Exactly. Alrighty.
Yeah. But until that crash, we'd encountered little bugs, but nothing that we couldn't just save, reload through. So yeah, this one was quite disappointing. It's such a mixed bag because I really love that Alcat gives support, and we've seen it. They support their games for a long time afterwards. They do a lot of big bug fixing. They add a lot of content.
Yep.
I don't always like their monetization season pass style,
same.
But I respect how much support they keep putting into the game. So I'm not like mad that I've got a forever broken product. But I'm disappointed that it's come out this buggy and will probably need quite a lot of work.
Oh my gosh, don't even... Okay, we're going to talk about this too. All right, we're going to talk about this.
Sorry, do you mind just giving me a second?
Okay, yeah.
There we go. I think that's better.
Speaking of Alcat games, I'm going to ask you, are you in the future going to buy an Alcat game on release, knowing their history? Now, this is the third game in a row where it's launched full of bugs. We're talking just full on bugs that like I'm always like, I refuse to do early access because I'm like, I don't want to pay for something that's definitely not fixed or ready, And then now I'm miffed, like people are releasing stuff that is clearly not a finished product, right? So now, yeah. Are you gonna buy the next Alcat game on release?
That's a hard question. I like it.
I know.
I think there's a bunch of factors. We've had some really insightful comments on both Twitch and YouTube as to potential reasons why it needed to release like this in terms of their financials. I believe they were a Russian-based studio that has had to move out of Russia due to situations there. Don't quote me on that. That's what I've heard. I should have done more research beforehand. But like there are a number of reasons where I can understand that maybe they were in financial difficulty and it had to come out. I don't like it though.
Agreed.
And I probably will buy the next one,
Okay.
depending on, how interested I am. And a lot of that is due to streaming and trying to make sure that I can stream it while there's interest for the game.
This is true. Isn't that the conundrum, right? Like, I would
It's
rather,
tough,
yeah,
yeah.
I would rather play the game, after it's gotten a few patches in, so it'd be smoother. But yeah, then people are gonna be like moved on to the next game, right? So I completely agree. I hear you. I'm not sure. I'm considering, because I'm so jaded with just most of the games like being launched that are not, in my opinion, like working product. Like, I would never go to a store and buy like a half-made shirt or something, or buy a shirt that has a whole
Yeah.
bunch of holes in it, right? So why am I paying for a game that has so many bugs on launch and stuff? So it's that kind of principle. So I was like, should I become a patient gamer? Maybe semi-patient gamer, like, instead of I'll wait like maybe after the first couple big patches come through or something, because I'm getting a little bit jaded about this whole situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, people taking my
I'm
money.
Yeah, I'm absolutely there. I definitely refuse to pre-order games now.
See?
Um,
Yeah.
I, as a consumer,
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely be being patient. I'd be waiting a couple of months, seeing what reviews are saying, seeing how support is holding up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I say on stream. I'm like, look, I'm having so much fun with this game. I do recommend it, but I recommend it later.
Yes.
Wait.
Good point. Yep.
Wait for it to be loved and fixed, and a couple of months down the line, maybe it's on sale. It's had lots of bug fixes. Perfect, amazing. I think you're going to have a great time with it.
Yes.
But right
Agree.
now it's so hard to recommend, and as a consumer I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But as a streamer,
Yeah.
there's certain not pressure but excitement to get in there and experience it all for the first time with everyone else experiencing it for the first time.
100% agreed. Agreed. All right.
Speaking, sorry, before we wrap up, speaking of the streamer experience, how have you found the process of streaming Rogue Trader?
I absolutely love it. I feel like so I don't, like I said, I don't read guides, I don't look at spoilers. I'm not even sure if I even watched a trailer of theirs, type of thing, right? I want that fresh perspective. I want my reactions to be genuine, so I don't want a lot of information, right? So a lot of times I'm just asking, like, what is this, or how do I do this, or why is this happening? And like, I'm almost kind of saying them just kind of, just saying it, right? But then people actually, explain the mechanic or explain the lore, and I'm like, oh. And so I don't mind that, because that's like I'm experiencing it still for the first time, like in the game. I'm not going outside of the game to learn about it or anything. So it's really fun for that kind of interaction. And because of that interaction, I have, got recommendations on the books to read, the Warhammer 40k. I think it's called, it's Eisenhorn Book One. It's a trilogy, Xenos, Malleus, and Hereticus or something. But I wanted something bite sized, because they were like, there's so many books, and I was like, guys, I just need something small to, dip my toe in to this lore. So they're like, okay, there's a trilogy out there. I was like, okay, fine, perfect. So, stuff like that. They've been able to recommend, books or YouTube for, my, I just want to learn more. So in that sense, I'm having a blast. I'm loving it. What about you?
Neat. I'm also having a great time. It's one of those games where I haven't always enjoyed streaming Alcat games because they're not fully voice acted. And you seem to be handling it fine, but I find doing all of the reading myself exhausting.
It is tiring.
So how do you find it?
It is. I even had to cut down, like, because a lot of times when I'm warping, I'm like, something will happen. And I used to read every single one. But if I quickly glance over, I was like, okay, I've already done this before. So
Right.
I'm just gonna click through it because, it's a little bit like not grayed up, but a little bit, it's like a darker green instead of the bright green for the choice. So I'm like, okay,
Right.
I've clearly already selected this before, so it's nothing new. So I'm just gonna click through it. But yeah, it is a lot of reading, but I, like I said, it's a lot of reading, but I also enjoy it because that's the way, in my opinion, that's the reason why I'm so immersed into it. You know what I'm saying? Like their descriptions and all that are so great. I'm like, wow, I'm hooked type of thing. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, it's been a really cool experience for me too, and I'm so grateful um, to actually be playing it with my partner Hemi because
Mhm.
he loves coming up with voices for the characters, and
Yeah, I heard him yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so fun. You guys are voice acting it.
yeah. So splitting that kind of voice strain and energy demand with him, he takes over the male characters, I'll
Hmm.
take over the female characters. We can play off each other and keep the energy up.
Hmm.
Um, and that has made it so much more enjoyable, so much more approachable, um, just to be able to stream without voice acting in the game.
Hmm.
Um, and then I was actually quite concerned about streaming something in a franchise like Warhammer 40k that is so well known and has a huge fan base. And
Hmm.
while that's very exciting, I've also heard, there are some sections of the fan base that are a little extreme about it, which I
Mm.
think a lot of big fan bases have.
Hmm.
But Warhammer has a certain
You're
setting
saying
that I think
you're
can really encourage
saying
it.
it like it's not good. Like, so what did you hear? I'm kind of
Well,
curious.
well, Warhammer has the setting that takes some terrible dystopian ideas to their absolute extreme.
Hmm.
And while I think a lot of fans really just love the world building,
Hmm.
there's a lot of fans who take it at very face value and go, this is good stuff. Like,
Uh,
this fits my real life doctrine.
oh my gosh.
Um,
That's
right? So,
horrible.
yeah, precisely. So I was a little concerned.
Yeah, that is
But
concerning.
I've had the most amazing time. Everyone who's tuned in has been so helpful
Hmm.
and friendly. And even though they're enthusiastic, I don't feel overwhelmed. Having stuff up on YouTube means that people who are watching who want to clarify things for us
Hmm.
are able to write it up, and I can go through and read it in my own time and really enjoy getting that clarification and learning more about the world.
Yes.
So I thought I'd be super overwhelmed. Instead, I just feel like I've been welcomed and am having a great time with all of these people who are super passionate about the
Agreed.
world.
Agreed. Yeah, people have clarified for me too, because I don't even realize it, but I mean, I know I just talk, right? And I guess sometimes I'll ask, and they're like, "Oh, when you were asking about this, it's blah blah blah," blah." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So like you said, I appreciate the clarification. It's like
Mhm.
it's really cool, and just the interaction part of it, right? Like
Yeah,
it's awesome.
absolutely. I've definitely had other games that I come into and I'm brand new and, I'm all fresh faced and excited to
Hmm.
get in. And sometimes you get people who are a little too heavy handed backseating
Oh
or
yeah.
um,
Have
too
you had
info
to?
dumpy.
Have you had to curtail anyone because they've been a little bit too heavy-handed with that?
No, and I don't know if that's just an amazing Warhammer community or I've been super lucky.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm trying to
but I've just
think.
had an amazing experience. Everyone's been very, very nice
Yeah, I don't
about
think I
it.
really had anyone backseating too much. I mean, I have no backseating type, but people can't help themselves sometimes. But
I'm a terrible backseater. I've had to
yeah.
work so hard on that when I tune into other people's streams because I know how much it starts grating on me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and then I still want to go and be like, but you should do this. I've had to work so hard on not being that person.
Exactly. Actually, I think I took off. I have to clarify. I have the no spoilers tag because I definitely don't want like stories spoiled for me. Backseating, I took off because I think people were like kind of confused. I don't mind if people explain like game mechanics or explain the lore, you know, and on all honesty, if they want to tell me how to play, I figured, you know what, that's your opinion, but I'm still going to do what I want to do, you know, type of thing. So
Yeah.
I took off the backseating and we'll see. We'll see how it works. Like if people insist I play a certain way, I'm like, no. Because then I'm like, you know what? Because of that, I'm going to pick a different option because I don't want to be
You're one of
influenced
those
by
kinds.
I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
But I have to agree. Like, I remember in Baldur's Gate 3, somebody was coming in and they were telling me like all the upcoming fights. I'm like, okay, maybe that's not story spoiling, but you're pretty much spoiling what I'm expecting in the near future. I was like,
Yeah.
that's not cool. You know what I mean? So I
No,
had
that's
to,
too far.
I had to like ask them not to do that. But yeah, I don't think I recall saying to anyone, you know, like, no, you need to stop. But yeah, so maybe it's the community. I don't know. It's good. It's good stuff.
It's been really nice,
Yes,
eh?
it's been really fun. All right, guys, so let's wrap this up. This is, like we said, episode 1. We're talking about Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. It's the current game that we're playing. We're thinking this is going to be a monthly podcast. So tune in. We're going to talk about, the expectation is we're going to talk about our current game that we're playing. If they are the same game, that's awesome because we can bounce off like, you know, what we've experienced, you know, what we're going through and share some, you know, compare notes type of thing. And if not, then it's just, you know, opening our eyes to like new games that we haven't even tried or thought of, and it's all gonna be good. And the best part, you guys get to hear all about it. Flute, do you have any other closing thoughts here?
I think that's it. Yeah, I'm really excited to actually just be able to talk to you about games and streaming in general. I don't often get to talk about that with other people in this kind of context. And I think that's a lot of fun. And,
It is. It's
you
been
know,
a
we play
blast.
similar games, but maybe we're not always going to be playing the same thing. So I'm looking forward to hearing about what you're doing.
Yes.
And in a monthly kind of catch up, if you want to see what we're doing in between those points in time, do check us out either on our YouTubes or our Twitches.
Yes. Links down below. Thanks, guys.
Calyx, thanks for chatting. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes,
We'll
it's been
see
a
you all
blast.
later.
See you guys. Bye.